Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jack here. Now I'm going to talk about a question that I get asked quite a lot, and it's just to do with general taxes and legalities when it comes to setting up a business, especially if you want to do an online business here in Australia in 2021. So I can only personally give advice from experience. Don't take this as actual legal advice, as I can only speak from experience. What I would do is talk to an accountant or a tax professional, someone who has actual professional legal advice for you, because I can only talk to you through my own experiences. But apart from that, we're going to be covering in this video a lot of different topics that I get asked, like whether you should go for an ABN as a sole trader or set up a company, things like income tax, whether you are wanting to start a business and you already have an income, like if you're already working part-time or full-time, we'll cover that. We'll cover a bit of GST, just a couple other things as well. So without further ado, we'll get straight into it. Main question I get asked is, Jack, do I need to set up a company? Do I need an ABN? Be under a sole trader, just work as a sole trader, or do I need an ACN and form a company? So the short answer to that is, I think it's just fine to start off with an ABN. To help me along with this, I'll actually go onto the government website, the actual Australian government website, and I'll show you guys a few of the differences between sole trader and company. Now the main difference, what I'm going to let you know, is really it's less hassle, less paperwork, especially when it comes to tax time. So I'm not going to go here in depth onto this website, but all I've got here is, and this is on the .gov.au website, so this is coming from the government themselves. They're just going over a few things like the setup costs, record keeping. So really, the main thing is it usually costs less to set up, as a sole trader, and it is a lot less of a headache when you are first starting your business. If this is like the first online business that you're starting, or the first business in general you're starting, I would suggest starting with an ABN, not just for the setup costs as we see here, but for the record keeping. They say a sole trader is a simple business structure, so it generally has less paperwork. Business income as well, you can claim reductions, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot more, I guess, when you grow, there's a lot more things you can do. There's a lot more leeway. You get to the point where you're making a large amount. Let's just say you start making, in profit, 200,000 per year, in your business, then okay, maybe that's at the point where, maybe you look at forming a company and start drawing a wage and things like that. But there's a lot of different things that go into it. So that's why I always say, I'm always going to say throughout this video, talk to a tax professional, just seek professional legal advice. Because like I said, basically what happened with me is I started with an ABN, and then I eventually formed into a company, or at the moment, the one I've got set up is quite different. It's like, it's basically like set up as a trust, and I am the trustee of that trust. It's a lot different, but basically starting to get to the point where I'm forming into a company. So very, very similar. It's a different structure to an ABN, but from what I've learned from having an ABN for the last few years, now slowly forming into the whole company structure, there's a lot more involved as a company. So I can tell you guys from experience, ABN is a lot more simple to get started with. So the way to actually get started with an ABN, to apply for an ABN, is you just go onto the Australian government website and you just go to apply or reapply for an ABN. It'll just ask you for some general questions about who you are, what kind of business you're doing, and it's not something that I really need to go through in this video. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then as long as the information that you've got is correct to the best of your knowledge, don't give any false information, because you get in trouble. You can get in trouble for that. But that's it. You go ahead and apply here, and then usually you get an answer, say within 24, 48 hours, sometimes a bit longer. I haven't applied for an ABN quite a little while, so it just depends, I guess, what your circumstances are. But if it's just under an ABN as a sole trader, you can choose a sole trader on this form, and that's pretty much it. Very, very simple. The last thing that I want to talk about are the tax rates for ABNs and ACNs. So whether a sole trader or a company, I'll talk a little bit about both, because that's something else that should be talked about, especially when you're looking to get started. So first thing is income tax rates, and this will be different again if you have a job already, if you have an income already. We'll talk about that in a second, because it is different again. So income tax rates, this is as of 2021 and 2022. So say if you have no income at all, say if you're wanting to get started from the ground up and you don't have a job at the moment, anything you earn from $0 to $18,200 is nil. You don't pay any tax on it. Since that, basically, once you start earning over $18,200, 19 cents for each dollar. So you can just think of it as this: 19%, and then this tax bracket is 32.5%, 37%, and then 180,000 or over, 45%. So I'm going to talk a bit about something just to consider, and again, this isn't legal advice. Just take this as just someone's experience, take this as my own experience, and take this as someone who has an opinion on this. Don't take this as actual legal advice. Just want to point that out there to you guys. I'm not a tax professional. So let's just say you're earning this, right? Let's just say you are at either this point here, 120,000 or 180,000 over. 45% you've got on tax. Okay, so maybe at that point, let's have a look at the company tax rates. So we've got, all right, aggravated turnover. So 25 million, 50 million, tax rate for base rate entities under the threshold, tax rate for all other companies. So even if we're looking at this, now these are big numbers, right? Aggravated turnover threshold, these are big numbers, but if you look at tax rate for all other companies, 30%, you come back to the individual tax rate, 37%, 45%, okay. What might be better? Maybe what you could do is you could come here and, okay, whether you've got a company, you could do that, or you could set yourself up and you could draw a wage from the company, and then you could draw a wage that's around here, under $120,000, something like that. Instead of just staying as a sole trader and going, okay, let's just say, and these are on the larger ends, okay, but it's something you need to know. So, okay, we're a sole trader and we're earning over 120,000, 37 cents to 45 cents if it's over 180,000, that's almost half your money gone just from taxes. Something you need to know, and that's why I need to talk to an accountant, because everyone's situation is different. And when I get asked about whether you should, like, I get questions a lot of the time of, okay, Jack, do I go under an ABN as a sole trader or an ACN, form a company? Everyone's situations are different, so that's why you need to get educated on it, and you need to really look at, okay, what's best for me. So, next thing I'm going to talk about, we're going to go straight into the last part of the taxes here. And what if you're already working? What if you have an income already? So, I've just gone and looked at a question. This is on the ATO community, and this might be similar to your situation if you're watching this video. So, one of the users here, and this was back in 2018, but it's still relevant, says, hi, I've reduced full-time employment to part-time and will be working as a sole trader in my other time. Total income will be similar, 37,000 to 87,000 bracket to previous full-time employment. Is the tax rate still the same as when employed full-time, or is it different because of being a sole trader part-time and an employee part-time, a second income? So she's got two incomes. Is it possible / worth doing PAYG on a modest part-time income, or just put aside funds come tax time? So she's talking a little bit about taxes. Now, the person who answered her, here's someone from the ATO community, said, your employer of your part-time job is required to withhold tax. So from your job, they'll withhold tax from you, right? They'll be using either the weekly, fortnightly, monthly tax tables, okay, blah, 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 blah. So usually, if you're employed, you don't have to worry about withholding your own tax. Usually, from when I got employed, they asked about whether, because I remember when I got employed, it could be different now, but back when I was working in retail, they asked if you wanted a certain amount of tax withheld, or if you want the base rate, or something like that. But their admin there where you work out are the ones who usually deal with withholding the tax. So then we've got here, okay, when you get paid for work as a sole trader, the income you receive will not have tax withheld from the payment. It will be your responsibility to put money aside for your tax liability, as we will work out how much tax you owe at the end of the financial year when you report all your income and expenses. So you'll have your income from your job, and then you will be as a sole trader under your ABN. That will sort of be separate. It will come together because usually the ATO will talk about, okay, whether you know, they'll put both incomes together. But if you've already got tax withheld from your current job, the other thing the only other thing you need to worry about is, okay, I'm under the ABN now, and I need to worry about keeping money aside for tax, and that's where you go from these tax brackets here, and that's where you start looking at this stuff. So that's something to know about tax. It is important to know, so get educated on it, and again, talk to an accountant. If you have an accountant, talk to them or seek advice from an accountant, because everyone's situation is going to be different depending on how much you earn, depending on whether you want to go for an ABN, and they'll give you advice on what you can do in your situation. So GST, something else that I get asked is, Jack, do I need to register for GST? The quick answer for that is no, especially not when you're getting started. It says here, this is on, again, the .gov.au website. They've got goods and services tax is a tax of 10% on most goods, services, and other items sold or consumed in Australia. If your business is registered for GST, you have to collect this extra money from your customers. you pay this to the Australian Taxation Office when it's due. So what happens here, and this is the minimum, this is all you really need to know about when it comes to GST when first starting. You only have to register if you have a turnover of $75,000 or more. So that's not profit, that's just revenue. So really, when you're first getting started, don't worry about registering for GST because you don't have to. They only make you register for GST because what happens is once you start earning over $75,000, anything you make or anything you charge, say if you sell a product, anytime you make a sale, anything like that, you have to charge 10% GST on your customers, and you don't keep any of that. It's like you're basically collecting money from your customers to give to the ATO. That's all that is. It's like, okay, the government looks at your income, that's okay, this person's making over $75,000 in their business, we want a bit of that. It's like, everyone knows tax, it's like they just take. So we want a bit of that. So now, since you're earning over that amount, you need to collect for every sale, you need to collect 10% on top of that. Keep that aside for us because we're going to want it afterwards. So that's all you need to know about GST. Unless you're running a non-profit organization, then it's $150,000 or more. But that $75,000 threshold is the only thing you need to worry about when it comes to GST. Okay, but that is pretty much it. That's really all the main things that you need to talk about. The last tip, and I've said this at the beginning, the last tip I want to give you is please talk to an accountant, talk to a tax professional if you're not sure about your current situation. If you're working in full-time, if you're working part-time, if you're working casual and you want to start your business on the side, the advice I would give is you're more than likely going to be a lot more safe going for an ABN. Just registering as a sole trader under an ABN, and then you can start trading through there. But I would still seek advice from an accountant if you can, or a tax professional. They can steer in the right direction a lot more than what I can. For my own personal circumstances, I started off with an ABN, it was a lot more simple. Then once you start growing, once you start earning more over the years, it took me about probably 3 years until I slowly formed from an ABN, and then I started going into more of a company structure because it's a lot easier down the line when you sort of start growing and earning more. You need to sort of look at things like, okay, how can we save, paying taxes that we don't need to? So that's really what you're looking at. All you're trying to do with this stuff is play within the guidelines, make sure you're following the rules, but also save yourself from not paying more tax than what you need to, because really when it comes down to it, you're already paying enough tax. One thing I've learned personally, they'll make sure that you pay the tax. ATO is always on your back about it, and you need to make sure that you're paying your tax, and then you got to do what you can, work with your accountant or whoever you have there that can help you. Work with them and try and minimize that as much as you can. Obviously by paying the tax you need to, playing within the guidelines, but that's about it. That's really all you need to worry about. And what I would do is do your own research, and if you're looking to start your own business, I would probably just start off with an ABN. It's the easiest thing to do. But then again, I'm going to reiterate, I know I'm repeating myself, I'm a broken record at this point. Go and talk to a tax professional, go and talk to an accountant, whoever you need to talk to. But that's all I'm going to talk about this. So if you do have any other questions about it, let me know, comment down below. I'm pretty sure I'm up to date as much as I can be on this stuff, and all this information is as true as I can get it. So if there's anything else you need to know about, let me know. I can do another video on it. But I hope this helped you guys out, and I hope you guys are doing well, staying safe. I'll see you guys in the next video.